Never in a million years did I think I would do a cheesy reality TV show about love. I was walking my dogs one day and my phone rings. It was a Los Angeles area code. It was a girl on the other end. She says, "Hi, my name is so-and-so, and I'm with the casting department for The Bachelorette." She said, "We got your information and we want to talk to you." And I have no idea what she's talking about. I don't even know if it's a joke or if this is real. It didn't take me long to figure out that my sister was behind it all. I said, "Listen, I just have no desire to be on reality TV, and I certainly don't want to subject myself to all the public criticism that comes along with being on a show like The Bachelorette." Guys go on there and get drunk, and there's the fantasy suite, and there's sex and nudity, and it just didn't seem like something that represented me. She said, just think about it. She said, you could travel, see the world, meet some cool friends, and she said, lastly, who knows, you might fall in love. And so I told her, I said, don't hold your breath, but I'll think about it. I've known from a young age that I'm a risk taker. I've started different business ventures. Some have succeeded, some have failed miserably. I took one big risk and I started this financial services company with a couple of partners, and due to some government regulation, it all came crumbling down, and it was without a doubt probably the darkest period of my life, the hardest time I've ever had, because not only did I lose my money, but I lost investors' money. I had to tell them, I lost your money, and they couldn't accept that. And they threatened to sue me, and I was afraid for my future, and I had so many sleepless nights, and I had so much anxiety and unrest. It was right after that I thought, I can't take any more chances. I gotta do something that gives me some security. And that's when I finally agreed to do what I swore I would never do, and that was to get into the family business of insurance. I hate it from the very beginning. I hated putting on my slacks in the morning. I hated getting to work and looking at all the different cold calls I had to make that day, and I just knew it wasn't for me, and I would constantly pray, and I'd say, God, I don't like this, and you know my heart's desires. If you want me to be here, I'll be here. But I just, I'm not happy. About that time, I got the phone call from the casting director of The Bachelorette, and after thinking about it for a week or so, I thought, you know what, I just want a free vacation. Maybe she has a point. We're at this big palatial mansion in North Carolina, so when you're not on a date with the girl, you're hanging out with the guys. And there were a lot of cool, normal guys. We spent most of the days hanging out by the pool, throwing the football, barbecuing. And then as the weeks go by, you start traveling. First stop was Bermuda, and then London and Croatia. I thought, all right, I can get used to this. After about 4 or 5 weeks of getting to spend time with the Bachelorette, I thought, I like being around her. Wow, I'm actually developing feelings for this girl when there's all these cameras around. This is kind of nuts. I can see myself being her husband, and she had a young daughter, and I thought, wow, God has used this reality TV show to introduce me to my wife and to my future daughter. After about 6 weeks of being on the show, I knew I loved her. I can't understand why God opened the door for me to be on this reality show, to fall in love, only for it to end like this. I cannot understand why He's led me to this heartbreak. I go back to Dallas and still heartbroken and I'm still thinking about her all the time. I reached out to her. I found her phone number through a mutual friend that we had, and I call her, and I'm just trying to get answers as to why this happened. I just got her voicemail and never received a return phone call. After about 6 weeks, I got a phone call from one of the executive producers. He says, "Hey, what do you think about being the next Bachelor?" And I didn't know what to say. I said, I'm getting over a broken heart and I'm still trying to mend. And the first go around wasn't the greatest experience for me. I said, I don't know. On the show, bachelors traditionally, they get raked over the coals. It's not easy to maintain that good guy image when you're the star. I call my family, and my family is such a wonderful, God-centered family, and I value their advice and their opinion. And I'm thinking they're gonna tell me, don't do it. But in fact, both my mom and my dad said, God has opened this door for you, and I think you owe it to yourself to walk through it. Fast forward a couple months, and I'm flying out to LA to start the whole adventure over again. And the first night comes, and the limos pull up. It was just a surreal moment, standing there, not knowing who was gonna step out of each limo, meeting every girl. And the first night, I think, lasted until 6 in. It was just all night. I'm exhausted, and I'm going from girl to girl to girl, having different conversations, trying to keep my story straight, trying to remember names. It's unnatural to date 25 women at one time, and it felt wrong. A lot of the time, it felt wrong. And I wrestled with it quite a bit, thinking, I'm pretty sure God opened this door, but what if he didn't? What if it's just an opportunity that came about, and what if I'm actually harming my testimony by going on a show and dating multiple people at one time and kissing multiple people? What if people look at me and they say, this is what's wrong with Christianity? Look at this guy. He's professing one thing, but he goes on TV and he's doing the opposite. That was a big fear. At the end of it all, I was forced to make probably the toughest decision of my life, breaking a girl's heart, thinking that she was gonna marry me. On the very same day, I got to propose to the love of my life, Catherine. I've always said that I want to marry my best friend. Catherine is just that. She was the one that I just couldn't see myself saying goodbye to, ever. Somewhere along the line, probably because people did know that I was a Christian, someone thought to ask the question, how's the sex, or are you guys waiting for marriage? I forget who asked it. I forget how they asked it, but somebody asked it. And I answered it honestly. Catherine and I are not having sex until marriage. From that moment forward, it was just a firestorm. I mean, every tabloid had me on the cover, and they labeled me as the Virgin Bachelor. Whether it was Late Night with Jimmy Kimmel, Entertainment Tonight, you name it, it was always brought up. They were just gonna view me as a weirdo. I didn't have sex in college. And honestly, I don't even know if I knew at that time why I took that stance. After graduating college, I moved back to Dallas. I'm dating other girls, and I started having sex. And I would feel extremely guilty afterwards, but after that guilt faded, then I would start talking to some other girl and go down the same path of destruction. I just reached a point where I thought, I've known Jesus is in my heart, and I know how I'm supposed to live, but for the past 5 or 6 years, I've just decided to ignore it. And something's got to change. And at probably the age of 24, I think I finally became a man. And I said, all right, Jesus, let's do this again. I don't know who I would be without Jesus in my heart. Jesus shapes the way I think. He shapes the way I see the world. He shapes the way I interact with everyone I come in contact with. It doesn't matter what I go through, the ups and the downs, the failed businesses, the broken heart, whatever. I know that I've got a God who loves me, who's right there next to me saying, it's gonna be okay. I've got plans for you. I love you. You know, I was labeled as an outsider. But as annoying as it was, it's also been a great thing for me, because that's now a part of my testimony. I don't know if anyone's found Jesus through me talking about not having sex, but I think now it's certainly more evident than ever that I love Jesus, and I'm different because I love Jesus. I didn't give in to, my sinful nature. As long as you stay in constant communication with God, He's gonna get you through anything. My name is Sean Lowe, and I am second.